We were also killed on 9/11. Avenge us.
Come on! This is the point of no return. I can never go back. Life without parole. Upstate shack on the track. Living in the hole, looking at the world through a crack. Fuck that. I'd rather shoot it out with the crack. Fell too far, ain't no coming back for me. Auschwitz gas chamber filled with Zyklon B. Just like the Spanish exterminating titles, raping the black and Indian women, creating Latinos.
We have to illuminate the nature of the structure of power which oppresses us. It is not only in the specific and documented and orchestrated events such as those of 9/11, which is but, after all, a little continuation of the series of predations that have been visited upon the mass of our people for over 150 years, at least. Every major adventure of the U.S. rulers has proceeded on the basis of such false flag operations and such pretexts.
Whenever I'm asked, which is very often, do you think the U.S. government would be so crass and so cruel to carry off an attack against its own people that wound up resulting in the massacre of 3,000 people? I tell them this: well, they told hundreds of thousands of people who live and work in lower Manhattan the air was safe to breathe. When to this day it was not. To this day there's contamination down there.
They already tested it.
They knew. They knew.
These men risked their lives on 9/11, saving people that they didn't even know. They didn't know these people. It could have been any one of us in the Twin Towers, in the rubble, and these guys would have still got us out. Right? These guys...
I myself ran from Building 7 as it fell. And I heard with my own ears what sounded like a rapid succession of explosions while running. We can rebuild plane crashes completely with debris recovered by divers from the ocean, but we cannot even produce a single piece of steel from the World Trade Center, steel that hasn't already been melted down and fabricated into something else, to examine it because the stuff was shipped out of the public eye so quickly. And some of it's in China, for Christ's sakes. There's no mention of those facts in open debate in any major media source that I see.
Our country has been taken over by these nasty corporate giants, and they've seemed to give our government HIV. And us in the truth movement, we're the white blood cells. We're the ones holding it back. We're suffering from a bad infection.
And how's your health? I mean, what was you inhaled a lot of stuff? Did you have protection?
No.
Protection?
No. In fact, at times on the pile they would hand us out like these little, masks, like the 25-cent masks or whatever. Yeah, they last about an hour before they get filled with vapor and sweat, and they're useless. You can't even breathe through them. You wind up taking them off. There's one guy that came in front of the whole task force, the whole unit, and he says, "Hey, you need to have a respirator like this, and make sure you have the blue canister." But unfortunately, there's no blue canisters. And there was about 60 guys that were ready to just jump on him and take his. It was almost like everybody wanted to just go grab his respirator after he said this. A gentleman approached me who was an NBC warfare tech. He said, this person is specialized in poisoning the enemy and preventing us from being poisoned. We're watching on the TV, and there was a radio saying the air quality was fine. He approached me on the low and said, "Hey, the air quality is 40 times acceptable levels." He didn't give me the numbers on deadly levels, but he said 40 times the acceptable levels. So I'm sure deadly levels fell somewhere in between there. And he told me that on the low. And he had the equipment. He was taking air readings and stuff all around, all different spots all around the site. I'd like to find that guy. I want him to come out. He has the data. I'm thankful to you guys. You guys are the one carving a path of clarity through this smoke.
The 9/11 Truth Movement?
Yes. I have credentials to get into the site, but I'd rather pick my teeth with the damn card. It's useless to me.
Huh.
Those people in there turn their back on me. They don't know who the hell I am. They don't know who Kevin McPadden is. But 9/11 Truth Movement does.
On September 11th, 2001, along with hundreds of my fellow troops, I went to Ground Zero. No one asked us, no orders were given. We went because our city, our country, our neighbors were under attack. And we knew what to do, or at least we thought we did. I came home 10 days later. I won't tell you about the vivid images of Ground Zero, there's no need to. If you were there, you know. If you weren't there, there's no need to talk about it. I want to tell you tonight about the people we call heroes, about the people in front of you, about the people you've read about in the newspaper for the past week who were invisible for the past 5 years, about the people who we applauded and put up banners for and wrote songs about and put into music videos and put movies on about and forgot about. That they were abandoned in their hour of greatest need and are still in growing numbers living in terrible physical and economic circumstances as they struggle with the carcinogenic effects of the toxic chemical soup Ground Zero became. That they still have the dignity and courage and even now fight like hell to save innocent lives, even as so many of us are dying. How many people in here live in New York City? Okay. Take a look at everybody with their hands up. If this room was full of rescue workers, I'd like to show you all something, but I need your cooperation. Will you help me? Can this side of the room, everybody stand up? Everybody on this side, if you're all rescue workers, will be dead in 4 years. Thank you. You'd all be dead in 4 years. That's our statistics. That's what's happening. In 7 years, it doubles. This is what Mount Sinai proved in a 17,000-page study that's on the internet. You can read about it. I would like to tell you tonight about September 13th, 2001, about marching down the West Side Highway after we had taken 3 hours of food and sleep and showers and checkups at the Chelsea Piers by some incredible volunteers, by thousands of them, who had set up a kind of a release station for those of us who were working on the pile. And on September 13th, we marched back in groups of 2s and 3s at first, and then dozens until there must have been more than 200 of us, carrying ropes, ladders, tools of every kind, back into the smoke and the poison and rubble, where we reached an intersection with hundreds of civilians cheering us on. Our uniforms were torn and soiled. Our resolve was simple: to stay and dig as long as we had any hope to save anybody.